the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Madam Secretary, if you will do the roll call.
Mr. Berger.
Here.
Ms. Conway. Here. Mr. Corey.
Here.
Mr. Cronin.
Here.
Mr. Curtis. Here. Mr. Ippolito.
Here.
Mr. Kisco.
Here.
Mr. Knight. Here. Mr. Putnam.
Here.
Mayor Carmona, Representative. Ms. Ferguson. Here. Ms. Pomazinski. Here. Mr. Carolla. Mr. Petrozelli.
Here.
Ms. Schulte. Here. Ms. Diaz is excused. Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Set.
Okay, so I will hear a motion regarding the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Say second.
Bill and Gary.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. School, community service, and public participation. The board invites members of the community to speak on topics to be addressed in the agenda or on other topics of interest. Individuals wishing to make comments are requested to fill out the speaker's sign-up sheet, including your name and address, which must be stated as well at the beginning of your comment. The board will not allow comments regarding specific staff members, parents, students, or personal grievances. Courtesy is expected in this limited public forum. Participating time will be limited to 3 minutes per person and 10 minutes overall to guarantee the efficient operation of the entire meeting. With that, we'll call up our first speaker, Jason Lafreniere.
Good evening. Jason Lafreniere, Byron Drive, Granby, Connecticut. Special education teacher at Torrington Middle School for the last 20 years. First of all, welcome to all the new board members. This evening, the board will deliberate and vote on a new 3-year Torrington Education Association contract. I would like to thank the teachers, my colleagues, and board members that collaborated to draft this new contract. I'm especially pleased with the fact that the Student Services Department was considered in this as part of this negotiations. This is the first year in the 20 years that I've been a part of Torrington Public Schools that this department has been recognized and protected for its legal responsibilities, its workload, and the fact that many in the department, specifically the special education teachers, fall under 2 job descriptions. We've been considered in these negotiations, which I appreciate. If you look at the special education teacher job description, which the one that I have was last revised in 1993, it states that special education teachers not only fall under the special ed job description, but adhere to the teacher job description K through 12, with the exception of modifications necessary for pre-K level programming. The terms proposed in this contract are just a starting point, and I'm encouraged to hear that our union and hopefully the Board of Education will continue to work to make Torrington a more desirable place to work. I venture to say that the Student Services Department works with the population of our students that probably cost the district the most amount of money. And that responsibility needs to be reflected in the contract. In the past, I've heard, but that is not how it's done elsewhere. That's not how it's been done in Torrington. I've suggested to our union during the negotiation process that with the difficulty that districts face in attracting and hiring qualified teachers, we need to stand out from the rest. It may be time to do things differently. It's time for us to set the precedent with a new way of treating all our bargaining units. On tonight's agenda, you're also going to be doing subcommittee assignments. It's been past practice that all bargaining units are allowed to have a representative on those subcommittees to help guide decisions that are made prior to them being presented to the full board. To date, only the TA has been represented on these committees. I urge the board to reach out to all bargaining units and ask that they send representatives to these meetings to get a more holistic view of the district and its stakeholders. I feel that because the TA is speaking up at these meetings, the TA has at times been criticized for its views in fighting for certain things that we believe in and that we feel are appropriate. I encourage others to do the same. As always, thank you for all you do for education in Torrington.
Thank you, Mr. Lafreniere. Our next speaker is Aaron Sullivan.
Good evening. My name is Erin Sullivan, and I'm an English teacher at Torrington High School, and hold on. This is my 24th year as an educator, my 20th year serving Torrington Public Schools. I am both proud and pleased to teach in this community. The students and parents I serve are engaged, supportive, and generous people. As a coach, a group leader for international trips, a student council advisor, and the facilitator for our biannual Raiders Rally charity event, I have seen our students in diverse settings and roles, and they always do me proud. The same applies to the faculty and staff with whom I work. I am surrounded by dedicated and skilled colleagues who put their heart and soul into this community and the students they serve. Innovative and resilient, they are consistently being recognized locally and nationally. They provide emotional and academic support to their students and their coworkers that goes above and beyond the call of duty. As we all know, the challenges of teaching in 2024 are complex and widespread. The changes we've seen in the profession and in the classroom in the past 2 decades are unquantifiable. Data compiled by the National Education Association and the National Center for Education Studies shows that 44% of teachers report always or often feeling burnt out, and that education is the #1 most burnout profession in the United States. This burnout is at the heart of the nationwide teacher and substitute shortage. As an employee of Torrington Public Schools, I am grateful for the support I receive. In the past few years, specifically, our Human Resources Department and the Office of Teaching and Learning have initiated programs to assist with teacher well-being and workload. I thank them for their efforts, but I know that the fight must continue. I would like to encourage Torrington Public Schools to continue the important work of combating educator burnout. The teacher shortage will not be solved easily or quickly, but we can make strides. Creating long-term meaningful solutions will work best with input from all parties, teachers, administrators, and staff. We can work together to support each other, designing programs and implementing practices that help recruit and retain dedicated educators. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Jameson Clegg.
Jameson Clegg, that would be 68 Jackson Street, Torrington, Connecticut. I'm here on a few different matters. Yes, I am 35 years old. I have 3 children. I get most of you think that because you are my parents' age, and I'm going to say this as a broad group, yes, there is a younger generation of parents that are coming in. Just because you guys are the age of our parents doesn't negate your responsibility of doing your job. When someone calls you out for not doing your job, and you go down the route that you chose, not only shows that you targeted me, you targeted other people, and you targeted my daughter. After I stood up, after 7 times my daughter getting hit in the face, I got told my daughter was being told to show her privates to other kids, and this was not just my issue, this was multiple parents' issues. And when I brought this up to your guys' superintendents and your guys' principals about how my daughter was getting this and getting that, I got straight up lied to. They got caught into a lie. They got both placed. The principal, my daughter is going to a new school. She's going for it because of the situation. My daughter has to go through that transition. She has gotten no write-ups. She has had no issues at her new school. Now, a 5-year-old going to a new school, transitioning halfway through the school year, you would think would have more of those things, right? So how are you guys still not going to say my daughter was targeted? And because I asked other parents on a free form, free speech, we all have it. It's called Torrington Chatter. You guys fired a bus driver for pretty much giving me the proof of the pudding. Didn't really even mean to say it, but policies were not being followed like I was being told. And when I was bringing up to your guys, superintendents, principals, and stuff like that, simple answers of why they're not being followed. I'm still wondering why all this is happening to not only me, but other parents. I mean, the stuff that I even saw on my Torrington Chatter stuff, kids getting stabbed by scissors in elementary schools, the stuff getting beat up, and it's a major issue. And I get COVID happened, kids are getting used to going into school, your guys are working through that. I don't get how my daughter has a smaller bus and she has a assistant on her bus, but a school bus where multiple kids are getting beat up, multiple stuff is happening, people using racial slurs, showing private parts, all that other stuff. There wasn't one of these people implemented at the school bus. And why? Because I spoke up, why I have a no trespassing on the superintendent's office and on the bus company for just trying to figure out why they weren't following their policies with my 5-year-old daughter. And why I'm being told, because I'm her stepfather, my daughter's coming home crying because of your guys' staff members telling her, I don't have to answer to your father because he's not your father. These are things that you're doing to a 5-year-old kid. I got told myself, I'm old enough to be your mother because I caught them in a lie. Do you think I'm going to respond to that well after my daughter has come home with another black eye after all these other implications? I don't think so. I had to go directly there because my phone calls were being screened. There was no emails being sent back. You guys have parents squared. Why wasn't anything being answered? I had to call the HR department to get me in contact with them because people that had my daughter wouldn't even answer the phone in the office. Everyone else would answer, but office wouldn't, principal wouldn't, superintendents wouldn't.
Thank you, Mr. Clegg.
Thank you.
3 minutes are about up.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. There's nobody else on the speakers list. Would anybody else who's joined us either here or online care to address the board? Okay. With that, we'll move right along to recognitions.
Thank you.
Here,
Yep.
you want to go up there?
I'm going to invite 2 people up to do the recognitions, if that's okay. Really excited tonight. We have 3 people to recognize, 1 student and 2 administrators. We're going to start with our student. Mr. Scott, if you can come up. Right there, Mr. Scott. Perfect.
So Torrington High School proudly acknowledges the outstanding contributions of Corinne Chadwick, an exemplary junior within our school community. Last year, Corinne started a remarkable program that significantly benefits both Torrington High School and Torrington Elementary School. Corinne's brainchild involved creating opportunities for high school students to actively engage in volunteer work at Torrington Elementary School, extending their support to elementary classrooms after regular school hours. Encouraged by the positive response and impact of the program, Corinne ensured that the program continued on into this year. Presently, students are actively involved in assisting with math, reading, and overall classroom activities at Torrington Elementary School. This hands-on experience not only provides valuable insights into an elementary classroom setting, but also allows students to develop essential skills while working with children. The collaborative effort of Corinne, her fellow THS students, and Torrington staff have not only fostered a sense of community between the 2 schools, but have also paved the way for students to explore diverse career paths. Corinne's visionary leadership and proactive approach have created a pathway for students, offering them insights into a variety of jobs, particularly in the realm of education. This initiative not only strengthens and helps develop our education, college, and career pathway, but also leaves a lasting and positive impact on the students of Torrington Elementary School.
Stay there long enough so I can get a picture.
And Dr. Buchanan, if you could come on.
I'm actually very proud to share with you this evening that 2 of our administrators have been selected by the American Federation of School Administrators to represent the state of Connecticut on the Artificial Intelligence Roundtable discussion with the U.S. Department of Technology, U.S. Education Department of Technology. Originally, we thought they were the 2 just chosen from Connecticut. We found out there are 2 of only 4 administrators out of 24,000 across the nation that have been selected to participate on this roundtable. And as we all know, artificial intelligence, it's It's ever-changing and it's a lot to learn, pros, cons, everything. So they're in a very important discussion and we can't wait to learn more about the impact it's going to have in our field of education. So hats off and congratulations and thank you to Peter Michelson.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, then with that, we would love to hear from our student representatives. Take it away.
I'm Lydia Campbell. I'll be presenting the first half of the student report.
I'm Russ Snyder, and I'll be presenting the second half of the student report.
In academic updates, Torrington High School students recently completed the Star Winter Assessment in Math and Reading after returning from winter break. Mid-January marked the completion of midterm exams, signaling the beginning of semester 2 and marking the halfway point of the school year. THS junior students have been dedicated to working on capstone projects, showcasing remarkable range of interests and topics. During midterm exams, students presented their capstones, featuring projects such as composing and producing a complete album, volunteering for community partners, exploring various cultures, delving into mental health through art therapy, engaging in business ventures, pursuing amateur boxing, and capturing stories through humans and THS. The Torrington High School Music Department received recognition from NBC Channel 30 for recording the THS String Quartet and Choir for their Christmas special, aired on Christmas Day. Congratulations to THS seniors Emily Takuri-Penaranda on viola and Rosangel Baez-Batista on cello for being selected for the 2024 New England Music Festival Orchestra. The New England Music Festival is comprised of schools throughout New England and is extremely competitive. The New England Music Festival concert will be held at the world-renowned Mechanics Hall in Worcester, Massachusetts on Saturday, March 23rd, 2024. The Torrington culinary class treated the crew working on the TMS/THS project with delicious chili, creating a positive experience for both the students and the construction site crew. Our THS school counselors have been hard at working on registering students for courses the next year. Our THS counselors spent the day at TMS meeting with 8th graders about courses for the next year. They spoke about high school expectations and graduation requirements and answered questions to assist in future planning and registration. In addition, our THS seniors visited the Torrington Middle School to talk to the 8th graders about high school expectations. Our TMS students asked thoughtful questions and our seniors were great role models. Special thanks to Ms. Verbicus and Mr. Minkelings for putting together this event. Additionally, on Thursday, January 25th, we will have a FAFSA workshop in the Library Media Center aimed to help seniors and their senior parents complete the FAFSA applications.
Our JRGC program sponsored a holiday food and toy drive to support the Friendly Hands Food Bank. The JRGC cadets visited the New England Air Museum, which is the largest aerospace museum in the region. The New England Air Museum houses over 80 aircrafts and extensive collection of engines, instruments, and artifacts in 3 large display hangars and an outdoor display area. The JRGC Leadership and Academic Bowl team is prepared for the Level 2 academic competition in February. The team qualified for Level 2 by scoring in the top 50% of all nationwide teams on a Level 1 test. The color guard presented the colors at Keystone Place, at Newberry Brook, the Thanksgiving Day football game, and 3 Torrington elementary schools for Veterans Day. So far this school year, the THS Corps of Cadets have participated in 149 hours of community service, including the holiday food drive, Veterans Day events, and with the THS Student Theater. On February 6th, there will be a change in command ceremony where Cadet Luis Alvarez will assume command of the THS Corps of Cadets from Cadet Caleb Kessler. Our UConn Intra-Allied Health Professionals class hosted Nicole Morales, an occupational therapist with Harvard Healthcare. She spoke to students about the occupational therapy field, as well as gave an overview of physical therapy along with speech and language pathology. In sports news, Torrington Raiders football player volunteered at the Bobo/Southwest Holiday Fair to ensure its success. Additionally, the Torrington Varsity Alumni Club and TH Athletics celebrated 50 years of female sports at Torrington High School during an event on January 12th. Milestone at the Teachers Girls Basketball game versus Holy Cross. In other sports news, congratulations goes out to the boys basketball team member Luca White, who has been named a finalist for the Player of the Week. Luca is having a great season leading the 7-4 Raiders, including a buzzer-beating 3-point shot to secure the 1-point win this past Saturday in this game against Newington. Thank you for your attention, and this concludes our Torrington High School board report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Please do not feel obligated to stay through the next part, because.
It'll be a long one.
Yeah.
It'll be a long night for you.
Because the board will hear a motion regarding a possible executive session regarding the TDA contract.
Second.
All those in favor?
Any
opposed? Okay, we will go into executive session.
I went up the driveway.
This way here.
Down the
An open session, we'll move right to, at, yes, 6:58, thank you, Ellen, I don't have my phone out. So we'll move to, number 9, a possible executive session regarding the voluntary retirement incentive program. Is there a motion?
Second.
We'll need to amend your motion to invite in, select members of the administration who's coming. Okay, inviting in the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and director of human resources. Is that an acceptable amendment for both of you? Yes. Great. All those in
Is it
favor?
Gary and Jeff or Jeff and Gary?
Gary and Jeff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Session at 7:15 PM. Next item on our agenda is the information sharing session. However, it has come to our attention that there are a couple members of our community who've come to speak with us who just mistimed their arrival. So if the board is interested, we would hear a motion to just briefly reopen the school community service and public participation portion of the agenda. Moved by Mr. Knight, seconded by Mr. Ippolito. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Unfortunately for you all, that does mean I have to read the paragraph again. But school community service and public participation. The board invites members of the community to speak on topics to be addressed in the agenda or on other topics of interest. Individuals wishing to make comments are requested to fill out the speaker sign-up sheet, including your name and address, which must be stated at the beginning of your comment. The board will not allow comments regarding specific staff members, parents, students, or personal grievances. Courtesy is expected in this limited public forum. The participating time will be limited to 3 minutes per person and 10 minutes overall to guarantee the efficient operation of the entire meeting. So, gentlemen, if you'd like to come forward and speak to us, please do.
Thank you for allowing us to reopen this to us. I appreciate that. Myself, Angelo LaMonica, 222 East Elm Street here in Torrington. This is
Harris Stagel, and I live at 113 Buena Vista Avenue. And we are here representing the Torrington Symphony Orchestra. And just to save time a little bit, I'll read a letter that actually I addressed to you guys. To whom it may concern, the Torrington Symphony Orchestra was established in 1961, and since its beginning has been based in the Torrington Public Schools, starting in a Vogel School, then to Torrington High School, and then to Torrington Middle School since 1999. The TSO is a nonprofit charitable organization, a 501c3, whose mission is to promote interest in and appreciation of symphonic and other music through the performance of symphonic concerts and related programs for the enjoyment, betterment, and benefit of the community. We're also part of Ed Advance, which gives an opportunity for adults and aspiring students a venue to perform. We also have a great relationship with the THS Music Department, who provide a great venue for their talented students that want to advance their musicianship, as there are not any youth ensembles in the area. We try to stimulate interest in young children at all our concerts, as admission is free to them. As a nonprofit, we are always financially challenged. The addition of facility use fees for our season would be approximately $6,000. This could very well be an expense we cannot overcome. In the spirit of music education and the betterment of the community, I hope that we can continue on as we were with the support of the Torrington Board of Ed. A caveat to that is during the summer when Torrington schools are closed to the kids, we would hire a custodian for our 3 rehearsals there. The custodian would come in and lock the doors, so we have our rehearsal, and we would pay for our summer rehearsals. But when school started in the fall, they would just unlock the door for us, and we would go in and set up the chairs and do what we had to do, because there was usually 3 custodians in the building. And it's been that way at Torrington Middle School since, like I said, 1999. I've worked with the various superintendents going back to Dr. Sparrow, was it? And worked with Muff and so forth, and here we are, the things are changing a little bit, and I'm just trying to save the symphony, actually. If you have any questions of me, I'd be glad to answer them, and then Angela would like to say something. Any questions for me?
Unfortunately, the rules don't allow us to engage, but thank you very much for speaking with us.
Yeah, we're just here. I think that Harris is president of the, and I'm just a board member and stuff like that. And I think that Sonja Symphony has been a very important part of the community and the arts of Torrington. And the new policy that was created, whatever it was, just took us by surprise. Obviously, we don't have the 10% of the students that I noticed on the policy. And I guess that's what we'd like to have you relook, check it over again, and see if we could fit into that with an exception or stuff. I mean, I sat on boards before, and we have changed things and critique, and it seems that this organization has fallen through the cracks, along with PAL and everything, who has a lot of students that participate. So we're here today to obviously let you be aware of, we have spoken, we have a little disappointed when our application got denied with no exceptions, but like anything else in the world, there has to be exceptions, there is, based on giving our side of the story with your policy. So, and hopefully that it can be re-looked at, whoever's on your policy board, to hopefully help us and continue with the Torrington Symphony, which has been part of this community for a long time. So that's how we feel. And thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
that and stuff like that, so.
And if you could give us a copy of the letter, either to the board's clerk there or by email, we'd certainly appreciate it.
I can give you some copies.
Well, I think we made a bunch of copies.
Yeah.
We made a copy for everyone.
Okay, yeah, so if you want to give them to Marissa there, and she'll make sure we've gotten them by the end of our meeting here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And while the public participation portion of the meeting is reopened, is there anybody else who would like to speak with the board? Okay. With that in mind, we'll go right along back into the agenda. So we'll go to item 10, the information sharing session, hearing first from the superintendent. Take it away, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Mrs. Ferguson and I really enjoyed going to see our high school students in action and a year with Frog and Toad. I mean, all I can say is, wow, what a great job by our students. I know it was directed by them, but the performers were amazing. Really, really enjoyed the show. If you didn't get a chance to see it, I guess come to the next one, but that was a really enjoyable and fun time. Mrs. Ferguson and I have also continued to hold our principal and our assistant principal meetings. We hold those where this is a chance for us to get together as a team, and we get to listen and learn from one another in order to enhance best practices for all of us. Great time there when we get to meet with those colleagues. Our administrators have been working very hard on holding their mid-year conferences with teachers and getting those scheduled and held, so kudos to that. Mrs. Ferguson and I are beginning to schedule our own mid-year conferences with the administrators that we evaluate. Visibility is key and paramount, as I've shared with this board, and our central office team continues to go out and about in all the schools and get to visit with our students and our teachers and our administrators to see all of the hard work and dedication taking place in those classrooms each and every single day. We couldn't be happier when we get to see that. And I'd like to really recognize the work of our administrative team, Mr. Petruzzelli, Mrs. Ferguson, Mrs. Klimaszewski, Mrs. Schulte, Mr. Pergola, and I have really worked hard on putting the budget together. As this board knows, the budget is coming soon, and will be here before we know it, but a lot of homework has been done, a lot of back level work from all, and everyone has really met their timelines. Kudos. We couldn't thank you enough for doing that, and the work that we're putting in for this effort and that will be shared with the board, we're very, very excited about. So kudos to all of them. I'm remiss if I didn't publicly acknowledge their hard work and efforts. And that's all I have this evening.
Any questions for the superintendent? Okay. The human resources report is up next.
Okay, thank you very much. So you have our vacancies for January 2024. I am pleased to provide you with some updates since last Friday when I submitted this. The special ed teacher, Vogel Wetmore, has accepted the offer, so that position is filled. You can see on this that with the behavior technician, it already said 0. I just wanted to, for the 2 positions here where it says 0, we had the resignations came in after the last board meeting, but because our teams are so efficient and our administrators are so on top of things, those positions were filled before I even gave this new report. So I wanted you to make a note that we got the resignation, but the positions are already filled. So we really don't have vacancies in those areas. The custodian, they're interviewing for this week, so that one should be filled soon. And the translator position that's open, our translator was the successful candidate for the secretary position, so it was filled internally, so that's why we have that. So we have candidates in line for that position as well. So I think we're actually doing really well for our vacancies. Laura and her team with special ed, we get a vacancy, they're on it. Everybody's doing well, the principals, dean with his team of custodians, everybody's doing a great job filling vacancies in such a tough market, so that's been positive. Our sub-fill rates still continue to be a challenge, and I'll talk about some of the strategies from ESS when I get down to the bottom of my report, but our December fill rates were tough. Our para fill rates continue to be better than they were in previous years, but our teacher fill rates continue to be low. And then our absences for December were actually considerably higher. You can see our year-to-date for both teachers and paras is in the 9th percentile range, but our December absences were 13.1% for teachers and 12.4% for paras. So we did have pretty tough December. I think there was a lot of things going around. There was some colds and different things happening. So I think it was just a little bit of a challenging month. As far as recruitment goes, ESS does continue to recruit. I asked them for some information. They said currently we have 62 active substitutes that are working in Torrington. They do have 47 people in the pipeline for hiring that they're working on onboarding right now. So hopefully we'll be able to get those people onboarded and add those to the active substitute list. We are attending job fairs with the American Job Center and continuing to they are attending the job fairs with the American Job Center and continuing to do their outreach. Torrington Public Schools and ESS are both going to be attending the Northwest Chamber of Commerce Job Fair at City Hall on February 6th. So we'll have a table there, but ESS will also have a table there. And then college and university job fair season is coming. So we're going to be out and about with our swag and our cool setup and everything. We've already signed up for University of Hartford, University of St. Joseph. We're waiting for the other universities to give us their dates so that we can start registering for those, but we will be out and about for those job fairs. For retention, we did our HR site visits for January. I think we have I think we finished them all this week. So between Takina and I, we visited all 6 schools. They continue to be very well received. On the average, we get anywhere from 10 to 15 visits from staff for different things, whether it's questions about retirement, questions about how to access their frontline, questions about how to change their tax information, particularly at this time of year. That seemed to be the hot topic this month was they need to know how they change their tax deductions. So that seemed to be consistent this month. So everyone's very appreciative that we're out there to help them on site. And then we are scheduling our first engagement exchange, which if you've ever heard the term, it's the same thing as a stay interview. So we're going to start going out to some of the schools to try to talk to some of our staff about why they love Torrington and what makes them stay, so we can capitalize on that in our recruitment efforts. And we have now scheduled our first one. Thank you, Mrs. Rinaldi, for getting us a space. So we'll be on February 8th, 9th, whatever Friday that is. We're going to be at the middle school, and we're going to make it a fun event for everybody and have some giveaways for people so that we can encourage people to come talk to us. So that's what we're going to be doing. And test that out and see how that goes. For wellness, the massage chairs were a huge hit in December. We always get positive feedback on that. We have our on-demand webinars in our engagement platform for the month of January, goal setting and reaching resolutions, and understanding the ins and outs of sleep. And on February 28th, we will have a mindfulness group hosted at Torrington. And on a side note, the pedometers came in for the walking challenge because they reached out to me early because the company said that they were running low on their stock and knew that we were a big provider every year. So I got all the pedometers they had left, and they've already showed up in my office. So in April, we will be having the walking challenge again. And then on the second page, you can see the comparison again between ESS and our Torrington Public Schools fill rates. So you can see that of their jobs that are filled, 34% of the teachers are filled by Torrington Public Schools staff, which would be including our retirees or our building subs that we hire ourselves, and 16.9% of our paras are the Torrington Public Schools employees versus the ESS employees. And then I've given you, again, the breakdown of the absences. You can see that sick and daily continue to be the largest percentage of where our absenteeism is coming from, and then our total staff turnover for the year. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I just, chair's privilege, I get to ask mine first, right? I just have a quick one. It's occurred to me that I probably should have asked this a very long time ago, but I have a sort of vague sense of what the teacher and paraprofessional absence rate means.
Yep.
But I don't think I've ever asked you how it's calculated. Is that the percentage of working days
Yes.
that a person has called out for?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
So I look at the total number of potential days that were available in that given period of time, whether it's the month or the year, and then the total percentage that they were not present for those opportunities of days.
Right, okay,
Yes.
okay, so it's possible, for example, for, one person who has particularly rough month, to really drive up the absence rate because they're being counted 31 times. So
And this
everybody else
and this is a total absence rate, right? So this includes FMLA, maternity leave, and so this is a total rate. But even though those are, and I never want to presume that any absence is not legitimate. I think people are legitimately ill, I totally understand that. But regardless, we don't have a body in front of our students. So it's a number we need to know is a real number. So.
Right, I just wasn't sure if it was by period, by working day, or.
No.
Questions?
I have, just for clarification, so on the total request, Kim, at the top of your second page of your presentation, so just for example, teacher total request 2706, does that mean that 53.9% of that 2,700 was daily sick calls?
No, not necessarily, because like this is the absence percentages total, right? And that's just the 2706 is the number of jobs that actually requested a substitute. So they might not correlate this daily
For
sick
year
thing might.
to date, right? Okay.
Year to date,
Okay.
yes. So,
They
to
don't-
Ed's question, right, where he said, how is the sick time calculated? It's by the number of days available. For a teacher, for example, right, they work 186 days, but only 181 of those days would be days that they need a sub. And not every member of the teacher's contract needs a sub, right? Like, so a school psychologist wouldn't put in for a substitute, a social worker wouldn't put in for a substitute. So when we say the teacher percentage, that's everybody in the TEA, but the number of total requests is only about how many people actually requested a substitute.
That's year to date, and this is just November.
Correct, yes.
Okay. The grid is just November, thanks, Sue. Okay.
First of all, thank you for keeping us so well-staffed. That's incredible in these days. And also for the reports that are so easy to read. They get better all the time as you tweak them. They get more and more understandable. I have a question, and that's, you use the word separations down here at the bottom of the second page. And this maybe could have been asked also at the consent agenda point, but usually we see resignations, we see appointments, we see retirements. Something is listed as a separation this time. Tell me what that is, please.
Hard for me to talk about a personnel matter at a public board meeting, but it would
Well,
be something
separation-
other than a retirement or a
separation.
resignation.
But separation means something that's different from,
Not a retirement or a resignation, but a separation for another reason.
okay, thank you.
Okay, other questions for Gary?
You gave us 23, 24 for the total requests. How does that compare to last year at this
The total requests for the,
time? Teacher and para.
yeah, I don't have that off the top of my head.
I have it.
Oh, okay, excellent.
It's actually last year, this time was 2482 for teachers, it's 1,260 for paras.
So we're a little
A little bit higher. It's 2706 this year over 2482 last year.
Did you dig up a year-old report just for this meeting? Is that what happened?
I did, but just for my own information.
It's valuable to know. I'm sorry, I'm not mocking you.
I actually usually look at that number pretty, and have that handy. And I've been sharing that information with our ESS partners as well, so
Yeah, I
they know where
admire
they
you.
are.
So is there any idea of what is triggering that? Or are we just experiencing a difficult time right now?
I think
It's all.
every district in the country is experiencing a higher number of absences than they have in previous years and a lower bill rate than they have in previous years because the substitutes are just not out there. And minimum wage is going up, so they can get money working at Walmart, they can, there's a
No,
whole
the
variety
subs
of
are-
factors.
That's different.
Yeah, the subs aren't out there, that's
Yeah.
different than our
Yeah.
teachers not coming to school.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's a combination of both though, is what I'm saying. So everybody's seeing higher absences
Mhm.
and lower sub-fill rates, like less substitutes available and higher absences is happening across the board in
And I
every.
don't mean that by all teachers, I'm sorry.
No, it's just the trend percentage, right? Like, so, yeah.
Do you ever query us to try to determine what the trend is due to, or do we just accept it the way it is? It's just, I don't know,
I mean, I think
in the past, this wasn't discussed prior.
somebody that spoke during the public comment talked about burnout, and I think that that's a real thing.
And in your report, you did say you're gonna be doing sort of stay interviews
Correct.
and talk with people about what does entice them to keep looking. Was that it, Gary? I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Ms. Friend?
Quick question, when does somebody show up on the report as a separation? So if somebody on November 15th submits their resignation with 3 weeks notice, 4 weeks notice, whatever it is, do they appear on the report when they submit the resignation, or do they appear on the report after they're gone?
So most times, they would appear on the report that same next month after we get the resignation. The only time we might hold on it is if it was a retirement and they've asked us to hold because they want to notify their colleagues before it's made public. So sometimes someone might submit a retirement notice for June 30th, for example, but say, can you not make it public right now because I'd like to I haven't told anybody yet, but I want to keep that private, and that's a personnel matter, so we keep that private and we honor that confidence. So, but almost every other time it would be on the next agenda.
Okay, so we're putting them on the report as they submit,
Correct.
not as they leave.
We put it on the report as soon as we have it with the date that they're gonna be leaving.
Okay. Thank you.
You mentioned burnout. Burnout is a thing. You offer a lot of wellness programs. What's the percentage of staff that are actually participating in the wellness programs?
So it's hit or miss. I think some activities tend to be more popular than others. Last year, we tried to do a lot of different in-person events to try to really cater to different groups, and we had small participation in person because I think it's tough to find the right time for people. So this year, we kind of went a different route and we did that virtual engagement platform so that people could go online and kind of do their own thing at their own time whenever they want to. We're struggling to get people to sign up for that. So I actually just outreached to the principals this week to encourage them to bring the flyer with the QR code to their staff meetings and really encourage people to sign up so that we can boost our participation in that. Yoga is always a popular one. The walking challenge is always popular. We had almost 400 people participate in the walking challenge last year. So certain events are very, very popular, but others, it's just kind of trial and error. We figure out what works, we try different things and see what works. We did a chocolate event in February last year. I would have thought we would have had tons of people there and 3 people showed up. So.
Just a question or a suggestion maybe. Have we ever thought about, I think we did a couple of years ago, about offering to the teachers a gym membership payment throughout Torrington? I mean, it's proven that we see it, a lot of teachers at the gym, I don't own the gym, but the benefits that they get, and I'm not gonna name them, but they're very senior teachers and they're very well-rounded. To the question of whether or not wellness works, offering them $20 at just,
So they get active fit through Cigna. So we put that out as part of our,
so that our insurance company does offer.
our insurance company offers what's called Active Fit.
Right.
And they can use that to take advantage. So when I send out my kind of wellness updates, I typically give them updates on the Active Fit program, on our employee assistance program where they can take advantage of calling. They get 2 free consultations for whatever they might need, whether it's finance, childcare, emotional support, whatever. They get 2 free consultations. So I try to give them all that information. I give them our wellness calendar. So I try to provide all that information for them, but they do have that option available to them. But it's certainly something we can consider additionally locally.
I think they pay the membership, or they pay every time somebody goes, the gym has to accept it, but that's not just 65 and older, that's all.
Everybody.
No, that should make a difference.
Any other questions regarding human resources report? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Schulte. Special education report.
Okay, thanks. So I'm gonna go briefly through my report because I felt that in the world of special ed, you know, we use a lot of acronyms. I throw things around, sometimes I forget that maybe everybody doesn't know what something stands for. We have a lot of different programs, and I just thought, you know what, rather than hearing me blab on about them, I would really like to bring some of our people forward and let them tell you what's going on in some of the programs that we have. So I'm very happy that tonight, the wonderfully gifted special education teacher that we have running the Torrington Transition Academy has agreed to come and do a very short, it won't be long, I promise, presentation on what's going on with Torrington Transition Academy. That is, just to remind you, our 18 to 22 program. So students that don't leave the district at 18 but continue on until their now 22nd birthday. So Michelle, thank you so much. And I think she might have brought some students along.
I have one.
Okay, and she's nervous, so let's cheer her up.
Nervous?
My name's Michelle Boulette. Thank you for having me here. I have the honor of being the teacher at the Torrington Transition Academy. So this program gives our students the opportunity to learn a variety of skills. So every day we prepare meals. We get half of our food from Ed Advance, which is, you know, where the school gets their food. And then we do grocery shopping for the rest of it. So we plan a weekly menu and for example, even if we just, like this was frozen Ed Advance pizza. So, you know, we made a salad to go with it, just the students picked out their toppings. And we plan the menu every week. So we also are learning a variety of household tasks. So the students load the dishwasher, but I also make them learn how to wash dishes by hand. Didn't like it very much, but the students are learning to iron. We do all the laundry skills. So we, you know, clean the floor, vacuum, mop, everything. And we even did a lesson on clogging the toilet, because that's a very valuable life skill.
It's a good life skill to have.
So, like I said, we go grocery shopping. We usually go grocery shopping twice a week because we shop at Big Y, and there's certain, you know, some things are on sale in the beginning of the week, some things are on sale in the end of the week. And go ahead, please. And then when the students, so you can see that there's students sitting down here. So when we get there, we like to have a little snack, review our grocery list, check the flyer again, look at the map. So that's what they're doing there. And then this is one of our work sites. We work at the Cajun Boil. We go there twice a week, and the students do all the cleaning. They do a really, really good job. Now this young man over here, this is Alexander. I call him Alexander the Great. And
Hi, Alexander.
he came to join us tonight. Okay. And then you can see we also clean the outside of the Cajun Boil. BJ's is one of our sites. So if you go there and you see how everything is nice and neat and level and everything's facing the front and it's all the right direction, that's because our students do that. So we go there 3 times a week and they do what that's called fronting. Alexander again. Okay. And then Joanne Fabric is another one of our job sites. So the students unpack the merchandise, they use the scanner, and then they put the merchandise where it belongs. This is another one of our cleaning sites at one of the local realtors. We go there once a week. And of course, I'm sure you've noticed how clean the Board of Ed is.
Yep.
This is why. Okay. Now this is one of our favorite and very, very important job sites. Our students work at Friendly Hands. They go there twice a week. They unpack the donations, they fill the bags to be redistributed, they sort, they organize, they work really, really, really hard. And I'm very proud of the job that they do there. Okay. This is another job that I'm very, very, very proud that my students do. They work at the senior center. So they go there 3 times a week, get everything ready for lunch, and then they package meals. Go ahead, please. And then they bring them to the Torrington Towers and distribute the meals there. And everybody really looks forward to the students going there. Now we do a lot of work outside. So not only do we keep the parking lot nice and clean, but we rake, we shovel, the whole bit. So now that my students that work at the Cajun Boil, we bring back some of their supplies, and then we make like a little assembly line, we package everything and then deliver it. So it's not an actual job site, but it's a job. So now, this is one of my favorite things. I call it community mobility. So we take public transportation and we walk too, like using the crosswalks and the traffic lights and everything. So we take public transportation and we go to the laundromat, and we go shopping, we go to the library. And then you can see here, we just did a little shopping trip, and then the students went and they had a little snack at McDonald's. And here we are at the laundromat. Even though we have a washer and dryer in our classroom, not everybody has a washer and dryer, so you have to learn how to use the laundromat. Plus, it's a great destination when you're planning, where you're going to go using the bus route. And when you're not working or you're not in class learning, gotta have some leisure time. So we have a ping pong table that they really like too. Go ahead, please. You can see they're just, it's a good opportunity to build social skills, cooperation, turn taking. Okay. And so this is another thing that we did. So we made these cookie mixes in a jar, and want to pass them out? Okay, here. So we made these cookie mixes in a jar, and we sold them so that this way, when the students go to Big Y, and when they go to Big Y and they want to have a hot chocolate or something when they're looking at the grocery list, we have the funds to do it. And Alex actually helped bake these cookies.
Oh, these are the cookies from the jars that you made?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So thank you very much
so much. Thank you so much.
Wasn't that better than hearing me drone on?
Yep. Thank you so much.
I don't bring treats, I know. Thanks, Michelle. I don't bring treats. So real quick, while they're finishing up, I just wanted to add just 2 new things that I'm going to be talking about to bring forward for next year, which I'm excited about. One of them is, for part of our ESY experience, we are going to be offering an in-district ESY summer camp. And I've wanted to do this since I came, but we needed to kind of get things together first. We send children out to camps sometimes because they really need that social experience. But this will allow us to, thank you very much. I don't get one. Oh man, that's okay. I'll share it with you. I'm good, thank you. I'll have to come by and get some. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So the camp is going to run during ESY, but probably the second part of the day. And we are going to bring non-disabled peers in. And my vision is to bring in a PE teacher a couple days a week, and we'll have like a field day to have the kids work together, play together. We're going to bring the art in a couple days a week and do special art projects. We're gonna do cooking and just different activities to encourage them to interact socially. So I'm excited about that, and we will be able to keep some of our own kids in our own school, rather than sending them off someplace. And providing special ed teachers, social workers. I think it'll be a really nice experience. And the other thing that I want to do for next year, we already have a couple therapy dogs in district, and they have been really, really well received. So I'm hoping to get that going in more of our schools so that they're going into all of our programs. It's really amazing to see, is Mary Ann still here? It's really amazing, Mary Ann could tell you, to see like the kids' reactions when the dog comes in.
They do it at nursing homes.
Yeah,
In town, they
they're
have dogs
amazing.
at the nursing
So
homes.
we have them in a couple schools and we're hoping to build on that.
We love Winston.
Winston's bigger than Mary Ann, but he's very gentle. And so that, and I'm also hoping to bring in a music therapist and an art therapist to do a lesson in our programs. It's gonna serve a couple of purposes. Sometimes those teachers don't even get a special, don't, because they always have kids in their room. So this would allow them to have that. Plus, I've seen music therapy in action with children in autistic programs before. It's wonderful. So that's what I'm hoping to get started for next year. So that's it. Got my normal numbers. They're down a tiny bit. If you have any questions, just call me.
Great. Well, I will say first, the cookies are excellent, please.
They smell so good.
As somebody who bakes poorly under the best of circumstances, they've done a great job. So thank you, and thank you for inviting them, Laura. Any legitimate questions related to the business in front of us for student services?
Yeah, what are the ingredients?
That's the key question, yeah.
You said down a little bit, but it looks like the numbers are down quite a bit over the month.
Yeah, we've,
Relative.
some good stuff has been going on, and we've been able, it's funny because I see so much in and out, so I know we brought kids back from outplacements, and so you would think the outplacement would go down and the in-district would go up, but there's just I report every month, there's a lot of movement on and off, but we have had some children that have exited special ed, which is always exciting, so you see that in our in-district numbers. And as always, our pre-K numbers continue to go up, and they will all year as we evaluate new 3-year-olds.
Any other questions for, I would actually just quickly ask, so, is the van that was the subject of so much controversy what the folks in our transition program are using to get around all these important
Yeah, they
things?
do.
Great, I continue to be glad that we purchased that van.
Great.
So, as long as there are no further questions, we'll move right along. Thank you very much. We have the liaison reports, which many of our wonderful administrators sent them in. I know one or two didn't make it into the packet. So I think what we'd like to do for your time and ours is rather than make you come up here and read them, if there's anything additional that any of you all would like to add, or if any of the members of the board have questions for you, we'd love to invite you up. But otherwise, we're just happy to have them to be read in front of us. So with that, do any principals or administrators have anything they'd like to share as part of the liaison reports? Okay, do any members of the board have any questions for our administrators?
It's not a question, just thank you for all you do.
That the board should always get cookies right before.
Yeah, write that down.
We'll make a note. My complaint
I got
is
one.
go home, so you gave me the report.
I have it, Mary Ann.
We have it,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to make a quick comment. I actually had the honor of being one of the chaperones for the Hairspray show. And man, were those kids well behaved. It was quite a loud bus, but they were very well behaved. I got a little nervous when we separated into 2 groups, and I ended up with 3 rows of students, and I was the only adult, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. But they were really well behaved, and the show was amazing. It was so much fun. Kids had a blast.
Glad to hear. Okay, any members of the board who are liaisons to anything that would like to report on that with us? Great. So we'll go right along to the field trip to Belize for THS in June of 2025.
Yes, actually, Angela Narige is here. She's been sitting here very patiently. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for sticking around.
We always I do hairspray, you can put it on.
This is our proposal for June 2025. It's actually a science trip, it's STEM. It's an 8-day trip where students will be immersed in the culture and the environment of Belize. We'll be visiting several different ecosystems and working with researchers and scientists hand in hand to conduct on-the-ground research, including at a marine research station where they'll be working with manatees and surveying coral reefs. So that is our plan for now. I don't know if you guys have questions about it.
Do you have any questions related to the
I
field
do.
trip?
You mentioned in June, so is this after school closes?
Yes, it is.
So we're looking at the last week in June,
Yeah,
possibly?
yeah.
Okay.
We don't have the dates squared away. They don't usually do that until we get a little bit closer. I'm running a trip this year to Costa Rica, June 26th to July 4th, so it's around the same time frame.
Any other questions regarding the field trip?
Just a quick, will they be able to scuba dive if the parents sign off? Just curious.
It's not something, I think it's snorkeling, so no scuba diving. I think scuba diving is a little too. I mean, it's probably
Asking now.
a potential excursion, but it's not.
Have we gone? Did we go to Costa Rica?
Costa Rica is in June.
It's
Yeah.
the first time we're gonna do it though?
Yeah.
Oh, we've been to other countries.
Yeah, we've done internet.
Yeah, yeah.
We did.
I just wondered-
Last summer was Italy.
My only concern is I know we talked about moving the Washington DC trip like later in the year, but people were concerned about the heat. This place is like 2/3 closer to the equator. And it's in June.
I have actually been to Costa Rica in June with students before, and it's typical humid rainforest weather. It's not extremely oppressive in my experience.
And what about Belize? You were talking about Belize.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I was
Yeah.
thinking of Costa Rica. No, I mean, Belize is a little bit farther south than Costa Rica, so I think that's probably similar.
Yeah.
Remember, they're going to a beach now that
Yeah, that's the difference.
It is the, it is different.
It's different. It's different than being
Pounding
in
the
an urban
pavement.
center.
Yeah, like there was no air movement in Washington.
Right.
The later you go, it's because you're in between.
I'd like to think that students and families know what they're getting into when they sign up to go to these places.
Yeah.
That's, even if they, maybe not all of them do, I like to think that they do. Any other questions regarding the field trip to Belize?
I don't have a question, I would love to just say thank you so much, to you and to our other Torrington High School staff who offer these opportunities to us. It's really so remarkable, so thank you.
Thank you very much. You have one more question?
All right, yeah, okay, one more question. On the contribution rate, and that's just because I wasn't in the meeting and I apologize for that, if any of these things were talked about. The chaperones, even if it's teacher chaperones, everyone pays their own way.
So there is a 6-to-1 teacher to student ratio. For every 6 students that sign up, we get to bring 1 chaperone for free. And then if we don't have, so if something happens that we don't have an exact amount of 6-to-1 seat, we have what ends up usually happening is there's a balance for a teacher. The chaperones will just split it amongst themselves and then set it in, or we do fundraising for it as well.
So do parents have the option to chaperone, or is it just teachers?
Parents can go as well. Erin is our expert traveler. I'm riding on her coattails.
So for the chaperone positions, those are certified staff members at the high school who get brought in on those free positions to chaperone the students. Parents are able to sign up when they sign up their child. If they want to sign up, they are paying travelers. They do not act as chaperones.
Maybe this isn't the right venue or the right forum for this, but I'm just curious as to why the teachers don't have to get the free chaperone rate over the parents.
Because the teachers are working as chaperones and the parents are not required to work as chaperones on the trip.
Okay, so that's your pay
really
Yeah,
for the
yeah, so
trip.
the company comps us a spot for every 6 students so that so the company is protected and that they have the right number of chaperones. We maintain that those chaperones be certified people at the high school because we're covering curriculum on the trip. And so we are working with the students and covering the curriculum with them as we are going through the trip. And then we're also monitoring the students day and night. Parents who travel are just travelers.
Well, not necessarily, because I chaperoned Washington DC and was a paying chaperone as a parent, but you're not just like on vacation. You're responsible, especially when there were 10 kids in a group, that 6 isn't bad, but.
Yeah, we're 1 to 6, and so we don't ask the parents to take on any responsibility.
Oh, okay, so they're,
They get to be sure they can't be chaperones.
oh, okay, so they're not chaperones, they're just.
No,
they're just the
paying.
travelers.
No, they are not, they have
Traveler.
the students are assigned to teachers, in terms of monitoring. The parents are not assigned to any students, they have no chaperone duties.
Yeah, I have some other questions, but I'll talk to Michael offline.
And I can have parents who have paid to travel with us come in to speak to that if you'd like. And-
No.
Okay.
Need to do that.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
It's just, do we have a problem funding these things? What's the failure rate for kids who want to go but can't afford it?
So we run fundraisers about every other month, and I have had students cover their entire trip through fundraising. Okay, they also have
Rarely is it a student who can't get in because there's no money or.
well, this is why we do this so far out, is so that to make it as manageable as we can for families. I mean, ultimately, these are enrichment opportunities, and we can't. Yeah, there's gonna be students who unfortunately cannot go, but we do everything we can to try to make this accessible to all of our demographics.
Did you ever end up jumping? Any other comments, questions, et cetera? Okay.
Thank you.
Both very much.
Thank you.
I'll go back to my agenda. So next up, we have policy number 4084, the Torrington Public Schools staff attendance policy. I don't know if Ellen wants to talk about that or if you would talk about that.
We've been looking at this attendance policy for a couple of months now. There was a significant amount of feedback from staff at the first unveiling of the initial draft 2 months ago. A lot of that feedback was brought back and considered and is reflected in some of the changes, the revisions, the edits to the policy. Policy committee looked at it again in January, and the committee asked that it be brought, as you see it, to the full board. So what you have in the packet is what the policy committee agreed that they would like to see added to our policy manual. Yeah, there were a lot of really good discussions, lots of good input. We want to thank all the people who came out to engage in the conversation.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion there?
I wasn't at the policy meeting, but I did go back and look, and I know there was a back and forth, but I think it was a good compromise. I think there needs to be guardrails, whatever you call it. For the very few that may cause some problems or create problems for the administration, for the children not getting what they need. I'm looking at it as a board member, it's the children, and it's also the budget. Never really discussed the cost of what might be excessive above and beyond for those very few who do take advantage. But there is a cost involved, and I'm trying to run it out, a big number, maybe someday we can get a total so we can all see how important it is. If we can use those guardrails to improve our numbers, that money goes back to the bottom line toward the students and toward the teachers. And whatever it may be, whether it's the incentive, we wrote on I think they accepted the contract incentive, but we have incentives in that for good attendance, and we have incentives for a number of things in the new contract, and this more or less says everything regarding that, except when there is a problem with somebody, we can now handle that problem rather than have no policy. And I wasn't there, but I did watch it. It was good back and forth.
It just makes
Glad
it
it wasn't
clearer from all sides.
I think it's a good meeting.
Any other questions or discussion there? Okay. Next up is the Board of Education schedule for 24-25.
Committee assignments.
Is it? Oh, you're right, I just did that. Committee assignments, Mr. Prentice has them, because she's far more diligent co-chair than I am.
So the only thing that's not changing is our teacher assignments to committees. Sandy, so I think Jason's gone and we let Mark know, but that hasn't changed. But I did make a note to Mr. Lafreniere's comment about having other bargaining units in the meetings, but Dr. Buchanan is at I think every subcommittee meeting, and pretty much, for the admin union, and we'll definitely see about having 1579 representation going forward. So this was a combined effort of Ed, myself, Glenn, and Ellen. We met and went over this and tried to be as equitable as possible. We had a little bit of trouble with the bargaining unit assignments, and the 1579, Kim, you can see is here. John, sorry, you're gonna be back up again.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Jumped out at, you misspelled my name though, so does that mean that?
Oh, I did, look at.
I'm sorry, we can't use that.
Oh, yeah, it's still Mr. Kisco. So you guys will be getting an email from Kim tomorrow, Kristen and Ed and John. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
The one thing I'd like to flag as part of our discussion that came up is we looked over what the bylaws allow, don't allow, require, and don't require with regard to committees. So at some point, we will likely be proposing a modest bylaw revision related to committees, just to make sure that all the things that we've been doing are actually in line with that. So for example, we can't at the moment have alternates assigned to the bargaining unit negotiating committees, but we have done so as a practice. So if we wanted to continue to do that, we would have to revise our bylaws. And there's also some clarification that may need to be made with regard to Mr. Prentice and myself as co-chairs serving on bargaining unit committees. So we have to get an opinion on that before we change the bylaw. So just with regard to the committee assignments, there may be some slight bylaw revisions that we'll be proposing to the board, so that our committee assignments are completely above board and everybody's doing what they have to be doing and what we. So any other?
Any questions?
Questions there?
Just a quick comment, Siri. Can you change the spelling of my name
Yes.
under liaison assignments?
Is there an I?
Yeah, it's
Instead
kind
of
of my
E?
thing.
Yep, nope, no worries.
Thank you. It's spelled right everywhere else.
Here it is, got it, yep. Got it.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Sorry, in John's too.
What is the
How
correct,
that
is that
happened.
I or an E?
It's an E.
Okay, so now the Board of Education schedule 24-25. I think we've seen this once before. Has anything changed since then? No. Okay. So.
The start times.
Oh, right, we adjusted that, right?
To 5:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had suggested that we change the start time to our meetings to 5:30 to accommodate our central office staff that lives out of town and just is reading. Yeah, there's a big gap for in between, when they get out of school at 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock when a subcommittee meeting starts and our regular board meetings. It's something we had talked about doing for years, we just didn't really ever get around to doing it.
There was some discussion, sorry.
I was asking about the continuation. We said we were going to start the meetings 5:30, follow it to be immediately following rather than at the time.
That's what I was gonna bring up as well. Do we want to adjust all the meetings that come after another meeting to 6 o'clock and have the agenda say 6 o'clock or immediately following?
I thought we talked about that and Was there a reason why we can't do that? And you might know, but.
I think we have to post a time when we post it, so if we were.
So we would do 5:30 and 6 o'clock, or immediately following?
Right, and then on the agenda, right, so that the schedule says 6 o'clock because that's the official start time. On the agenda, it would say 6 o'clock or immediately following, so that if the 5:30 meeting runs longer, it's made clear that there is still a second meeting that's going to happen. But that way, if our first meetings are fast, we'll be able to run right into them. We're not running afoul of the public posting rules, and hopefully we can get people out of the meetings faster.
So it would be, the start times would be 5:30, and then we would put 6 o'clock for the second meetings, or immediately following?
That would be my suggestion.
Because we have to set a time.
Yeah, for any instance of a meeting that follows another meeting, yeah, it should be a half an hour afterwards.
So what's everyone's thoughts on that?
What do the bylaws say about how long the meetings go? They say until 9, and after that we have to
That's
get a
something
motion?
you guys did.
It's 9 or 10.
It's 9. I thought it was 9. No, we've voted at 9 o'clock to run.
We voted at 9, which means now we're voting at 8:30, right? I mean, we're not extending automatically.
I don't know if there's
No,
anything in the bylaws. I think that
The bylaws don't say a specific amount of time, they say a specific endpoint. And the exact phrasing is actually the meeting should end at 9 p.m.
Which is why we've always taken the motion to extend that. Which you have voted against and I have voted against.
You both have every time.
Which is why I'm asking.
I like to go home. I got chicken stock on the stove.
And also, it used to be that the board day meetings is until 7.
And you have them run, some ran until 11 or 12 o'clock at night.
So,
Yeah.
okay, with an eye toward that expedience that we're talking about, is everybody okay with, essentially, the amendment here is any meeting that follows another meeting should have its posted start time be a half an hour after the first meeting. So if it's 5:30, it's 6. 6, it's 6:30. I think they all are 5:30.
Yeah, it
But
looks like
if
they
not,
are. Yeah, then a half
what we
hour.
really want is start the second one a half an hour later.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only comment I would make is that we have, at some of the meetings, we have guests from the community come out. We might be using up more of their time because they're gonna have to arrive at 6. And in many cases, they won't go on until 6:30 because a lot of meetings do tend to run about the hour. Just as I'm in favor of, we have to at least consider that publicly, that they would have to show up at 6 to be public participation or.
Right, and then that is true, and what I would say is committee chairs have the prerogative to do what we did this evening, where as long as there is public comment on your agenda, you can make a motion during your meeting to amend your agenda to reopen it essentially. Because it's been publicly posted that there will be public comment, it meets the legal standard, and you can, as a committee, vote to hear testimony at any time by amending your agenda. So that would be my suggestion to committee chairs. It's certainly, we were happy to do it this evening. It's always better to hear the community than not. But that's the best we can probably do in that scenario. Okay, any other discussion? That's all, great. So we have the board goals for 23-24.
John, I just wanted to bring this to your attention because I think school improvement.
It's a school improvement
Yep.
responsibility.
So we should probably take a look and see where we're at from last year.
And we talked about that at the last school improvement meeting, about having it brought up, which is why it's on the agenda tonight. These are this year's goals, and I think what I'm going to do is ask anyone who has any suggestions about any new goals, different goals, to just get in touch with me between now, well, as soon as possible. But we don't have to adopt them. The sooner the better.
Right.
And also, if anyone has any particular feeling about either continuing or discontinuing any one of these, they should get in touch with me. I mean, some of these are ongoing.
Yeah, I noticed that when I looked at them, there weren't really many that, or any that could be closed.
No, they're none of which should be euthanized.
But they're just
Some years we
ongoing.
have-
Right, and I think it's good because it's keeping us in line with the building project and everything else that's going
But
on.
we should at least open it for discussion.
Yeah.
The school improvement committee recommends
Whatever suggestions, perfect, okay, so that's out there, perfect, thank you.
Questions or further discussion? Board goals? Great, please do get in touch with Mr. Pisco We all share ownership of our board goals. Okay, so next thing would be the update on the status of the redistricting ad hoc. Is that you?
I can definitely take that. My assistant, Ms. Graziani, has been accepting all of the people who have reached out to say they want to be part of it. We've had a really, really nice turnout. We're going to close it on Friday, and then I'm going to speak with the co-chairs, and we will then assemble our committee and notify everyone by next Tuesday, because obviously the following week will be our first meeting. So we have a really nice turnout, and it's looking really good right now.
Great. Any questions?
You opened it to community members also, that has gone out? Because when
We're not putting out like a blast to like the city of Torrington, but it's been put out. There were community members that approached us that wanted to participate. That have participated in the past.
Yeah, I think that's very important because we learned a lot from them within the last go round of the
I think a lot of those people are
extremely important and needed.
well, and I think a lot of those people were invited through the email that went out to the whole school community.
My only other thought, in a similar vein to Ellen's, would be, did we send an invitation to the city's other elected officials, members of the council, appointed officials in the Board of Finance? I only ask because even though sometimes we have a fractious relationship with them, it's gonna come up in a couple budgets from now about why we're asking for so much more, so much less money, and we're gonna have to spend hours explaining the redistricting to them. Or we could invite, say, a member of the council, if they want to select one of their number, to join us in the redistricting ad hoc and get their input. It's just a suggestion. I leave it up to you if you wanted to send that out. Anyone else?
Another advantage of that is people can't complain if they are asked to participate and choose not to. But if they aren't asked, they have a more legitimate position.
We've asked in the past, they've had some success in a couple of them, sure, not much success, but it is worth asking, right?
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. Last item on the information sharing session is the Southwest Tea.
I can take that as well. So that was the last piece we were waiting for from a Southwest project, and we're happy to report that it came in. So
we did have a picture, but obviously we're not getting to see it tonight, which I'm frowning upon.
We got a picture.
Okay.
It's an email, I think.
Pretty cool. Very proud of that too.
So is that? Oh, go ahead. So is that project the vestibule project that this is part of?
I'm sorry?
that was the final decision.
Was that part of the vestibule project?
No, that was the flooring project.
The flooring project?
Yeah, the flooring, we're waiting on the company to actually make the tea for us.
I don't remember a flooring project either.
Some of these projects.
There was some of them we.
We'll have to go see it.
Yes, if you go visit, you'll see.
Yeah, we did see the picture.
That's not it.
It's entirely possible that this project was voted on by the board years ago before any of it. Sometimes these projects start very late.
I think it was.
Yeah, if John says it was years ago, I trust
It was a long time ago.
Great.
We move.
Okay, so we just have committee reports. John, you're up first for school improvement.
I'm up first. We had a presentation by Joanne Creed of the English Language Learner Program at the last meeting. She took the whole hour she was offered and took the whole hour, and it was actually one of the few times I would say it was worth that amount of time. And it was great. And we were emailed the PowerPoint presentation that she had. I'm sure she'd be delighted for the excuse to talk to you. If you have any questions, just ask her about that. She would be delighted.
I reached out to her, I read it, and it was very informative. It really, really was. She's not here tonight, usually she's here.
She is. She sends her regrets. She's actually at Yale University at a Rosa Parks event
Oh.
that's happening at the library on the Yale campus.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was a really great presentation.
And the other
I'm
thing
sorry
we
I
have
missed it.
going on is the Distinguished Alumnus Award. That process is starting and we will actually push the button to get the mechanism started a couple of weeks. Ferguson is working on that, as she always does.
Great. Any questions for John regarding the school improvement committee? Okay. Ellen, you're next for policy.
Moving right along, finish the boardwalk, just going through what we have, what we need to address, if anything that comes along, and passing the time for particularly.
That's right. You know this. So we're going to call on you next time for policy. Any questions for Ellen?
Not so much a question as a comment. I was asked by a member of the building committee when we are going to make a policy about naming rights for.
That's actually something I gave Gary tonight.
Yeah, tonight. All right.
Yeah, because we need to get started.
Yeah, I gave him some,
Getting kind of late, actually.
I think they.
So that'll be on your agenda, Gary. You're so thrilled. Any other discussion or questions for policy? Okay, last up is the building committee. Do you want to take that, Gary? Usually do.
It's going smooth. I think there is going to be another walkthrough this coming weekend. because
Saturday morning.
This weekend it
was
is?
changed to this coming weekend. It was supposed to be
Right.
last weekend, so now. Anybody
Right.
wants to- anybody wants to take a little walk?
I didn't either. He didn't send a message out on this one.
No, he didn't send a message yet.
Can you tell him to?
Because, I can tell you why, because he's gonna run them a couple times a month, and he's trying to cap it at 30 each time, so he's trying to be strategic about which groups he brings when.
Okay.
So it
Have
was
there
kind
been
of,
that
an
many?
invitation, like he had specific employee groups that he was.
So we should expect at some point
You'll
to be
get
put
one.
back in the rotation.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you want to be put back sooner than later, I can share that with him.
You should
That's
put
okay. I
them
just want to give you
on
notice, that's all.
optional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suppose
It just says optional.
we're responsible
Yeah.
for the
Yeah, well, it's
project.
kind of our thing, I
Yeah.
guess, so.
Yeah.
We should be able to go.
Don't have to go short of it.
Huh?
Also, we opened the tours up to the teachers and got very favorable responses from the tours, so.
Great. As many people as are willing and able to see the project, I would say.
Yeah, more the better.
Yeah, it's good to see it's in the community for probably longer than I'm gonna live. I don't know about the rest of it.
Well, and right now, importantly, Mario and Ed and everybody else, including the people at the state level who certainly helped out financially. And we're gonna deliver the building on time, at or under budget, exceeding what we initially estimated. I always not.
Yeah, with that, Gary.
Now, unless in the demo something goes bad, but other than that, all of our contracts are signed.
Good. All right, that's it for, unless anyone has any final questions, thoughts, okay. Then we'll go right into the action items. We will hear a motion regarding the TEA contract. We'll make a motion
I will move to accept the contract as negotiated and presented tonight.
Second.
Okay, made by Mr. Kisco, seconded by Mr. Knight. All those, any discussion or debate? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Next up, we will hear a motion regarding the voluntary retirement incentive program. The motion, if you intend to adopt the program, should be to authorize the superintendent and his designees to enter into the agreement, because we haven't had it in text form in front of us. And so I will hear a motion. So, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion or debate on the retirement incentive program? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries.
For clarification, it was Gary and Jeff.
Jeff,
Yeah, I'm ambivalent.
Yeah.
Jeff and Glenn, thank you.
Okay, I'll hear a motion to approve the Belize trip for THS for June 2025.
So moved.
There's a second. Moved by Mr. Knight, seconded by Mr. Toledo. Is there any discussion or debate? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Action item D, policy number 4084, the Torrington Public Schools staff attendance policy. We'll hear a motion to adopt the policy.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Honan, seconded by Mr. Putnam. Is there any debate or discussion? Hearing none, I would ask Ms. Honan if you would just call the roll for this one. We'll go to,
You want individual?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
With 9 votes in favor, 1 opposed, the motion carries. The policy is adopted. Item E, the Board of Education schedule for 24-25. I will hear a motion to adopt that schedule with the amendment that we made during the information sharing session.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Prentice, is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Toledo. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. We have the Board of Education regular meeting minutes for December 20th, 2023. We'll hear a motion to accept the minutes. Is there a second? Moved by Mr. Prentice, seconded by Mr. Kisco. Is there any discussion or debate? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We'll hear a motion to accept the Board of Education special meeting minutes from January 4th, 2024.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Moved by Mr. Prentice, seconded by Mr. Berger. Is there any discussion or debate? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye. I don't think I would know that.
It was an expulsion. We're just accepting the minutes, though. We're not,
Basically recognize.
we're just,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so you can, vote on that.
Okay, the motion carries. We will do action item H, the committee meeting minutes as a bundle, so I'll hear a motion to accept SIC from November 29th, policy from November 29th, and the building committee from November 16th, and December 21st at the same motion.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kisco, seconded by Mr. Knight. Is there any debate or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. And finally, I will hear a motion to accept or receive, I'm not sure which we're doing, for the consent agenda.
We usually receive.
Okay, we'll be receiving it then. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Knight, seconded by Mr. Prentice. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Items for the upcoming agenda. We should have the budget. A little update even on that. And the budget committee will probably receive the budget, right?
And we would have received it, we wouldn't have had a
budget meeting yet.
we would have.
Well, according to what it is.
Timeline, yeah. So we'll have the budget meeting on 14th.
So it'll be at the, okay, so it'll be, yeah, well, let's do January meeting. So February meeting, that's our next regular meeting.
Correct, right?
Yeah, so we'll have the budget on the next regular meeting agenda. Well, by that point, the redistricting ad hoc will have started meeting, so we'll have an update from that committee. What's coming up from any of the committees that you think is gonna need to be on the agenda? Anything from committee chairs, members? Right, so we'll have, I'm sure,
You'll have
some
the updates for
updates or
facilities and
projects.
budget at
Um,
that point.
Yeah, we'll have the monthly financials, because we'll have had a budget committee meeting. We'll see about the rest, all of the standard fare, the human resources.
Possibly
spend
board
reports.
goals.
That won't be next meeting.
Whenever
I mean,
you're
I have
ready.
to report
Let
on
us
the
know when
progress,
you're ready.
but we won't have
Okay. Anyone have anything else that they think ought to be added to the upcoming agenda? No? All right, comments for the good reporter. I will start, I guess. I think it's really exciting, Laura, that you brought folks from one of your programs in, even if they didn't bring the cookies. No, we're certainly thankful for those. So I like that assumption. If we were to do it again, I would. That's really the only thing that stood out to me. So I guess we'll go with one. Yes.
No, great presentation from Michelle. Michelle?
Yes.
Yes. And thank you for our Torrington Student Services t-shirts very much. That was very helpful. And it was just a very good meeting. Thank you, everybody, for your patience tonight.
I don't have much to add, but thanks for the cookies and the t-shirt, it's awesome. Thank you, Laura. Good meeting.
I echo what they said, and I walked in with Alex Alexander, and he was just beaming and excited that he was going to present. So we had a nice conversation. It's a great program, and it's wonderful that he got out here to be able to present, you know? So thank you.
Nothing from me.
Tomorrow is Robert Burns' birthday. Congratulations to all Scots in the audience, Venmo, and may your haggis be piped in properly and washed down properly.
She'll be celebrating.
Good meeting, I did, going better than I thought.
What does that mean?
It's just-
We're honored by your faith.
No, it's not that, but the continued working together. I tell you the thing, now, but does that concern you?
Of course, there was some
I'm always
concern.
honest.
We lost our fearless leader.
That's always.
Good meeting, everybody. Everybody have a good night and stay dry. It's warm.
Is it?
Yeah, it looked like it for a few minutes ago.
It's already on our way in.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks, Laura.
Nothing really, thank you. I just want to say it was a really sweet moment when Alexander left and gave his teacher a hug.
Oh,
Real
that was
te-
sweet.
Real
I didn't see
testament to her and her commitment to her students. Nice.
Members of the team. I don't want to call you all out individually, but feel free to jump in and share if you would
And I
like.
really like the way we got to see the whole gamut of our student body achievements tonight. It was nice, so thank you.
Thank you, everybody. With that, we will hear a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
John.
John's the, we are adjourned.